I am now 53 years removed from Vietnam, and it wasn't 53, it was yesterday. There are times like you can't believe that you're here 53 years later talking about something that you thought that could have happened last week.
The average American, I don't think, understands what went on. We did things that 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds shouldn't have to do or see.
We were categorized as missing in action, presumed killed. That's what my family knew. Missing, presumed dead for 3.5 years.
1st Battalion, 1st Marines, we lost 23 Marines in Corpsman from 31 January to 4 March. The place smelled like death.
Most young people I've encountered don't want to know, they don't care. Most older people don't want to know, they don't care.
I went to Vietnam with College of the Ozarks with 12 other SEVO students as well as with 12 veterans that we were paired together. And for 2 weeks we toured around the country of Vietnam. We went specifically to where each of those veterans had fought.
The unit I served with has a website. At the bottom of the page says, if we aren't willing to tell our story, then we cannot complain when someone else gets it wrong. And to share our experiences with a college student only ensures that the truth will live on for at least one more generation.
These veterans took full advantage of us students being 100% bought in to their lives and their stories. And they knew that because we were so invested, we were going to carry on the true story of what the Vietnam War was.
Learning about the Vietnam War from the veterans is so important because you can read about it in a book, you can hear someone who didn't experience it talk about it, and it doesn't come to life like it does when they talk about it.
You gather with them on their battlefield, where they fought, and they're there. They can see the blood, they can smell the smoke. All of a sudden, freedom is not free is just way too inadequate because you're looking right there of the cost of freedom.
You see the action kind of unfolding in their eyes and their facial expressions. Now they're explaining a story, but what's going on and what they're not telling you about is that they're reliving the story. And history changes at that point. It's not words on a book. It's someone crying in front of you because they've lost friends at that location. And for those veterans, it's their life. It's not history.
I think going back to Vietnam with us was a really great experience for them to have someone who really cared to learn about what they did there and the sacrifice they made.
I had a bond created by young men and women that cared about what I did and cared about hearing about and taking the time to listen to me tell you about those men who can't talk anymore.
We were able to share as students in that experience of healing with the veterans, and they were so vulnerable in opening up and giving a piece of themselves to us that maybe for some of them had never shared that story before.
I would say that it was the most powerful class, the most powerful experience that I had throughout my college career.
The lesson that I learned from these veterans and from this trip is that freedom isn't free. And so my duty now, because I've experienced this trip, is to help open other people's eyes to it, to the sacrifice that goes into leaving your family and sacrificing your life, your mental state, your comfort, your freedom for someone else's.
World War II, the greatest generation, those soldiers that fought in that, there's not a lot of them left. And those are stories that we'll never get back. And we need to make sure that we don't do this to our Vietnam veterans, that we don't let their stories die.